Welcome. So good to be with you on this Wednesday as we get together for a little midweek Bible study and devotional time. And I'm so glad you've taken some time out of your day to join us to do just that and to dig into God's Word today. The story is told of 5 doctors who went out duck hunting one day, and included in the group were a general practitioner, a pediatrician, a psychiatrist, a surgeon, and finally a pathologist. And so they're out duck hunting one day, and after a while, a bird comes flying overhead. And the first to react is the general practitioner, who raised his shotgun, but as he was about to shoot, he hesitated, and he said, "Yeah, I think it's a duck, but I'm not quite sure it's a duck. I think I need to get a second opinion." And of course, by that time, the bird was gone. Well, a few moments later, another bird appeared in the sky, and this time the pediatrician drew a bead on it. And he too, however, was unsure of if it was really a duck or not in his sights. I mean, it was a little ways off, and besides, it might have babies. And so he said, "I'll just have to do some more investigations. I'll let this one go," and the bird flew away. Next to spy the bird, or another bird flying, was the sharp-eyed psychiatrist. Now, he was more certain of his intended prey's identity. He said, "I know it's a duck," but then he said, "But does it know it's a duck?" Of course, it's a psychiatrist, right? And so with shotgun shouldered, the fortunate bird disappeared while the psychiatrist wrestled with his dilemma. Finally, a 4th bird sped past, and this time the surgeon grabbed his shotgun, pointed it skywards, didn't hesitate at all. Boom, he fired. Then he lowered his smoking shotgun and turned nonchalantly to the pathologist beside him and said, "Go see if that was a duck, will you?" Some of you may have to process that joke for a few minutes, but a couple of points to be made out of that story. If you don't get the joke, hopefully you get at least the points that I'm trying to make. I'll let you in on them, even if you didn't get them right away. But first of all, on one side, we've all been guilty, right, of shooting first and asking questions later. I think we've all been guilty of that. That's why we have proverbs like "look before you leap," right? And just analyzing what's going on before we make a hasty decision. Of course, we've also all been guilty on the other side of that, at times, of being paralyzed by the moment, unable to make a decision or move forward, which is why we also have proverbs that tell us of the danger of delay and of hesitating. Proverbs like "he who hesitates is lost." And you say, well, which one is it? Which one is the wiser advice? And when you look at God's word, maybe you end up just as confused, because in Proverbs chapter 6, verse 9, we have a proverb that says something like this: "How long will you lie there, you lazy person? When will you get up from sleeping?" So that's one side of it. And then Proverbs chapter 21, verse 5 says, "Those who act too quickly become poor." So which one is it? And it can be confusing at times to find that right balance. And the truth is, there's a danger in both extremes, right? It's necessary to look ahead and to plan before taking action. Jesus called that counting the cost, and there's a lot of value and wisdom in doing that. However, we also have to be careful not to procrastinate and put things off so much so that we never get anything accomplished, or even more importantly, or more dangerously, depending on which way you're looking at it, that we never step out in faith, trusting God to do what only He can do. It is a wise man indeed who can find the proper balance. The most important thing throughout all of it, and throughout life in general, is to seek after the way of God and to trust Him to help us. That's why I love what one proverb says, Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. "Trust in the Lord with all your heart." Don't trust in yourself, even if you take the time to invite. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. There are certainly plenty of times in our lives when we've been paralyzed by analyzing the situation, right? We call it paralysis by analysis, and we fail to step out or step forward in faith for what God would have us to do. And we also recognize the many times in our lives when we have just wildly plunged forward and ahead without giving at least even too much thought, but even enough thought at times to what we were doing, and later regretted those actions. But may we ask God to bless us with the wisdom to live with the proper balance in our lives. Always, most importantly, always trusting Him with all of our hearts and looking to Him to guide us. Hope you have a blessed day. God bless.